you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello guys, welcome to our show. Today we discuss about AI, so we can't ignore this topic, and even more, we are going to unite AI with art business. I think all niches today need to consider AI, because if you ignore it, tomorrow competitors will overcome you, to take your business, take your customers. And today it's very important, and our business is on the same boat. I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Sam Davis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to learn more about that. Sam, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you decided to implement AI in art.
Wow, that's a lot. So my name's Sam. I am actually a scientist by training. I got my PhD in 2015. I work as a conservation scientist for my day job. So I work to protect forests. I needed a hobby. I was a writer for a long time. I'm still a writer, but I needed something more. And so right before the pandemic in 2019, I started looking at AI as a way to kind of bring my creative ideas to life, because I couldn't draw, right? Like I could barely draw a stick figure. And so I looked at AI in 2019, and it was making stuff that 3-year-olds could draw. It was not very well put together. And I realized that I was actually going to have to learn how to draw. And so I did. And I ended up starting a sticker business in late 2019, selling my hand-drawn animations. But I've always had that eye to AI. And so then around summer of last year, there was this big breakthrough with generative art AI. So of course there's ChatGPT, which is super popular, which is like you put in an input and you get a text output. But art AI was a little bit behind. And so it took a little bit of time, but eventually in summer of last year, we were finally able to give a computer a text input and get an image output that actually made sense. And that was super cool. And so when that happened, I started kind of reorienting my business towards AI, because not that I've always been in it to make money per se, but money is like an important part, right? And AI helps you scale. So I'm a one-person shop. I don't have any employees. And many of the designs I make maybe only sell 5, 10, 15, 20 in any given year. So they're all pretty low volume. But with AI, I'm able to create better designs quicker and get them out. So my goal is volume of designs, and AI really helps me do that.
Nice. I have the first question about creativity. People complain about AI because it's not creative. It's generic, especially if we are talking about writing or generating text, because it's the best tool, rewriting tool. So, grammar is good, but nothing special, nothing new. And of course, we can use AI in the right way. For example, I don't write text with AI, but I edit text with AI. I can translate them. So many things I can do with AI. Can you tell how to use AI in the right way in art? Because people need creativity. And let me share a story. It's a famous story about a book author. The author of book, let me remind the story. The author published a book 11 years ago. He couldn't sell this book for a long time. He spent some time with marketing, sales, but sales were not good. Then his daughter published content on TikTok. This video became viral. Plus 50 million people watched this video. Today, this book is the bestseller on Amazon, because the video was creative. It's interesting. Even with the account with 0 followers, people love this video. I watched this video. I can't tell that it's nice looking design, but it's creative. It's interesting to watch. And what kind of problem we have with AI? It's not creative. Can you tell how to decide this issue? Because if we are going to implement AI, we need to be creative as well. Any insights about that?
Yeah. if you're only using AI to generate a finished product, you're using it wrong. That goes for whether you're using a text generation or an art generation or even video generation. I just saw Runway introduced a video AI platform launched last night. So you need to use AI almost as like a concept generator. And so like I use AI as like concept art. And then from there, I need to bring it into, say, Photoshop and clean it up. And some of that cleaning up is getting rid of some artifacts, cleaning up the background, upscaling because AI images tend to be super small. And then if I'm like taking it over into animation, which I'm learning now, I need to clean it up for that. Most of my stickers and art designs tend to be very pun based. So I'll often add text to draw out the joke and then post it. Very rarely do I use Midjourney to generate something and then just straight up post it somewhere. Not unless I'm like looking for feedback. And the same is true for text and AI. I've been using like Jasper for a long time, which is a text AI generator. And yes, the grammar is okay and the content is usually pretty great. But like people aren't on my website to look at content that AI created. They're looking for content that I create. And so like it's very important that you have that post editing process to make it your own and make it creative. And so I mean the same holds true for art. You have to take it and make it yours. Otherwise it's just going to be noise on the internet.
You know, you mentioned that you started to learn about AI in 2019. You mean you're early adopter, you know, because I see people just learn about AI today after this trending topic with ChatGPT, but you started with Jasper. So can you tell what kind of difference you have by using Jasper or any other AI tool in ChatGPT? Why it's so popular today? Why ChatGPT got 100 million users in 2 months? Yeah, it's insane. You know, for example, I compare data. The close competitor was Instagram that got the same number. Oh, I don't remember. It's like 10 months, something like this. So, any insights about that?
Yeah, I think so. Jasper is what I kind of call a middle range generator. It's meant for businesses. It's not necessarily meant for individuals, and its pricing, even back then, was kind of way up there, right? Like if you have, I don't know, $500 US dollars in a month that you're trying to like allocate to hobbies, Jasper was like 1/5 of that, right? It was like about $100 a month in the beginning. And ChatGPT never has been. So from what I understand, ChatGPT's subscription is about $20 a month. So you're paying, a little bit more than what you'd pay for, say, Amazon Prime for access to AI. And so I think that price point is why it's taken off. And also it's a little bit of a like going back to the source thing, which is interesting because we don't often see that with businesses. But like Jasper is built on OpenAI's technology. Jasper has a chat feature, which is just a wrapper around ChatGPT. And most of these AI tools are built on OpenAI's platform right now. OpenAI is by far the most popular. So going back to the source, actually just subscribing to and using OpenAI's ChatGPT's tool is the cheapest you can get it, right? Cheapest dedicated use. So I think that's what caused kind of the massive surge. And then keep in mind too that articles were coming out left and right because we had kind of this AI revolution with GPT-3 and GPT-4 coming, and then followed right on that was Midjourney and Stable Diffusion and all these kind of art generators popping up. So AI really had its heyday last summer into the fall and winter, and I think that just everyone wants to try it.
Yeah. Let's talk about sticker artist. Can you tell how you can stand out from the rest? Because I see when people just replicate existing artists that have success, and it's not only about art; it's everywhere. People like to rewrite, to create something that we have today. And for me it's the same. Like I often ask my friends about a new movie, and the most common reply, nothing special, nothing new. I've they've seen the same plot, but it's rarely to get the reply, wow, it's a new plot, that was surprising plot. So any insights how to stand out from the rest from your experience by using AI?
Ooh, so I think a lot of business success actually comes down to the basics of marketing and branding. So my personal sticker business is very bright colors, bold lines, big shapes, big eyes, kind of a flat look to it. Again, with those like funny taglines. That's kind of my thing. And I've worked really hard to kind of build that brand. So, for example, if you search mushroom sticker, which is a bad example because I don't have any mushrooms, but whatever, we'll go for it. So if you search mushroom sticker, you're going to see pages upon pages of kind of these like pastel, watercolor-ish, very pleasant mushrooms to look at. If my brand were to do a mushroom sticker, I would find some sort of mushroom pun, and then my mushroom design would kind of have all those elements that I talked about, where I'm looking for flat colors, or a flat design rather, bright colors, big eyes, big space, oversized head, funny tagline. And so like that, you don't need to follow my brand to have success. And I wouldn't say I'm the most successful sticker artist by any means, but I'm consistent. And so like if your brand is those pastel, watercolor, fine art drawings, then you got to lean into that. And when you're using AI to generate your art, you got to include all of that. So very often what I do when I'm using AI is I will write my design idea down, and then at the end I'll tag on all these modifiers. And so I love using the modifier in Midjourney as a pop art sticker, and it gives it a very specific color palette. It tends to almost give it a discrete shape because a lot of popular stickers, including mine, are kiss cut. So, they have the white border on the outside. I'll use as a bright watercolor painting sometimes for some of my designs, but that does fall a little bit outside of my usual style. So you have to like think about how to tell the computer what you want it to do, and then tag it on. And a lot of these programs they'll accept a really long input, like way longer than you think about. So you can't just say a cute mushroom as a watercolor painting. You have to say a cute red and white mushroom as a pop art sticker with big eyes and blah, blah, blah. You have to make like a whole paragraph out of it. And that's what's going to get you the style that you want, that you can then clean up and turn into a project.
Once I watched how Elon Musk asked questions on ChatGPT, and what I found, he was specific as maximum as possible, provided a lot of details, and he got this long answer, interesting answer. Even he likes this answer. So, and you mentioned that you need to ask the right questions or details. Can you tell your methods or prompts that you have to ask the right? Or to set up the right commands to AI tools to get what you want to get.
Yeah. Again, it's like a super big answer, right? But with art generators, your trick is really in the style of, that's your magic word. So sometimes I'll do like in the style of Tea Turtle, which is a website that produces really distinctive, t-shirt designs, and that will generate something in that general style. Unless you're famous, you're probably not going to be able to reference your own style. So like I can't say in the style of Sam Davis to Midjourney, it's not going to know what I'm talking about, which is fine. But that means that I need to look like in an art museum even, or an online art museum, if I really want to like nail down a style and see kind of what other pop art artists have done and what their styles look like and how are they similar to mine, and then how can I incorporate that in. And AI doesn't really care about punctuation, so the commas or the periods or stuff that you put in for your own comfort, it's going to read it all as one continuous text. And so I use the as or in the style of as kind of like a text separator that tells it, okay, I want this design in this way. And so that's how you do it there. And then on Jasper and ChatGPT, I always tell my colleagues that AI is a liar. It doesn't know truth from fiction. And so if you're talking about something that has a lot of pre-existing knowledge on the internet, you're going to get a better answer than if you don't. And that's actually true in AI art too. So I found that Midjourney has a real problem with bearded dragons, which are a pet lizard. It can't draw them. I don't know. I've been watching it since version 3, and it gets a little bit better each time, but especially the phrase bearded dragon, like sometimes you have to think about these phrases and then find new ways to say it. Because if you don't have this context of, oh, a bearded dragon is a pet lizard, then you're going to try to draw a dragon with a beard, right? That makes sense to the AI. And so with that word, trying to get it to produce better drawings, I'll use the scientific name instead, Pagona, which is the genus name. And that kind of gets it there, but not quite. And so AI does still have a way to go, but the more specific you can be, and then, some of it's just experimenting too, right? Like if you put it in and you get a really bad answer, figure out which part of your prompt is causing that and then change it. Yeah, because I mean, Midjourney has pretty much unlimited or close to unlimited prompts. You got to use it a lot to run out. So, use it as a tool and explore.
Yeah, nice. Okay, I'm interested how you communicate with your customers, because I see when it's hard to transfer the right data to designers. I cooperate with many website designers, and it depends on clients. Some clients want creativity, so they don't ask, please do with all these details, just make to the point. Sometimes we can give the freedom to designers, to provide their creativity, because designers have experience how to simplify, how to personalize, but it depends, as usual. Can you tell how to provide, like to give to your customers the right brief or any forms that can feel to ask what they wanna get, because if you don't understand the task, you can't create that they wanna get. So any tips how to do it right?
I mean, my best advice really is to experiment, and that goes with Midjourney. It goes with like your basic business marketing, everything. I think back to a couple of years ago when I was first starting to grow my business, and the gold standard was kind of Facebook followers at that point. And so I went for it, and I ended up paying for some advertising. I got over 1,000 followers, which felt like a good benchmark. And then Facebook still sucked for my art, because Facebook sucks for businesses. Facebook exists to take business money without a lot of rewards. And so, I've kind of switched, not even so much Instagram, but really TikTok. And then I have the challenge of how do I show these finished Midjourney products on TikTok, because a really popular way for artists to express themselves is like your Procreate or whiteboard style videos where you have like an in progress painting, but with Midjourney, you don't have that. So, I think there's just a lot of kind of in between and muddiness when it comes to artists, like sharing with customers what their vision is, and even helping other artists figure out how to do it best. I think the best solution when you're first learning a tool like Midjourney, Midjourney is great for this because it's set up in a Discord channel, is to just follow the community chats and see how other people are doing things, and then kind of copy them. And the community chats can also be really intimidating. They move really fast because there's a ton of people using Midjourney. You can always do your own experimentation in a DM with Midjourney's bot, so you can keep kind of all your work there, and then keep your community channels open where you're just kind of watching and learning.
Yeah. And in the beginning you mentioned about that you work hard to get results, and about consistency. Can you tell how you understand these words? Because I love them. Working hard for me is it's hard to get results without working hard, but you need to work smart as well. And consistency, I see when people are trying to implement many things. They don't pay attention to priorities, and just like jack of all trades, master of none. So can you tell about how you understand working hard and consistency in your job?
Oh yeah. I for the last few years I've classified myself as a relentless creative. And by that I mean I have a daily practice of engaging with my business and my hobbies, which are kind of art and writing. And so for the first year and a half of my business, I was actually pretty much producing designs daily. In the last year or so, I had a bunch of like family health stuff happen that kind of knocked my creativity down and to the side. We had a lot of death and grieving and all that. And so I haven't been producing as much on the front end, but I've still been producing a lot on the back end. And, when you're talking about like hustle culture, which is what a lot of this is, right? It's this idea of this dream of having a second income. Like you can't just dream it, you have to do it. And so even when I'm in dreaming phase where I'm trying to like pick up a new skill or really try to understand something that I don't understand yet, I always try to wrap up that learning session, which usually happens on the weekend, with something concrete. And so a great example of that was this past weekend. I decided that problem I mentioned to you about like, how do I show movement and create videos for these 2D arts that I didn't draw, I just cleaned up. And so my thought was, let's try animation. Let's try 2D animation. Because I do still know how to draw, even though I use Midjourney for a lot. So why don't I animate some stuff? And so I spent the weekend learning about Adobe After Effects, which is a really strange thing to learn for a 2D artist, but that's what I was doing. And by the end, I had created like a 15-second little video that I haven't published yet, but it has animation in it. And so like I always you have to actually do the thing that you're researching, even if what you do isn't a finished product. You have to apply it to retain it. And then you can move on from that problem into a different one. Because I agree, like so many people have so many things and they don't prioritize them. And I'm the same way. I'm very much like, ooh, new shiny thing, new shiny thing, new shiny thing. But I think I'm better at kind of bringing it back into like, what is the practice that I can do today to help me either conquer this thing or produce this thing or move on to the next thing. And, I think that skill was really valuable. And it's something that I learned during my PhD work, but anyone can learn it. It's not like that I'm super smart or anything like that. It's more that, I had a set amount of time to do a project and I did the project. And so learning that skill of actually completing something is really important to actually like improving your ability to produce art or produce writing or use AI as a tool.
Yeah, nice. For example, in my family, my son has own vision about how design needs to look. My wife has her vision. I have mine. And quite different. Now we are different people, different visions. Can you tell how you can learn customers? Because customers are different on many brands. Even two companies can create similar products, but customers are different, so they have their unique selling proposition. Can you tell your approaches how to learn customers before creating this art?
Yeah, I mean, so I will say when I first started, I did it blind and I didn't have a lot of customer research or anything like that. I didn't have any money to pay for something like that. And B, I don't know. I was looking for other people like me. I guess that was my customer profile, like making art that I wanted to make. In the early pandemic, I started actually looking at my customer profiles. And because I'm a sticker artist and I was selling on Etsy, Etsy is an online marketplace, and even though they don't outright provide you email address, you get the person's shipping address and name, or the name that they give you, and then you can find their email address. So I like literally sat down a weekend and I stalked like 25 of my customers, just the 25 most recent customers. And I know that sounds creepy, and maybe it's a little creepy, but it was only public information, and I learned some really interesting things. Like some of my customers are actually like older college professors, which I didn't expect because a lot of my artwork is kind of geared towards Gen Z and millennials. But I found that some like older college professors were really into it. There were like 5 people on my list that were like associated with academics. And so, I think the best data you have is actually the real data you have. And if you're trying to make that first sale, you gotta spend some time maybe fantasizing about your ideal customer, but you're not really going to get a good feel for what your customer base is until you're actually making sales. And then you can use that information that you glean from, like a shipping address or something like that, in a quick Google search, and then create a marketing persona from that. And then you can spend some targeted time thinking about, okay, well, they like this design. What other designs in this general field and brand that I have would they like? And how can I make those designs and then market them to those people? So that's probably not the like rich person answer, but that's the real answer. Like you got to stalk your existing customers and figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's okay. All companies start from scratch blindly. They don't know. Even big companies like Instagram. I read the history of this company. They didn't have purpose to create social media with photos, pictures, videos. They had different goal, but they change minds during the way. That's okay, So you can start doing something and switch attention to what actually will work. So to provide deep learning more, but yeah, we are blind when we start from scratch just by using generic methods. And I'm interested about simplicity. Can you tell how it's important to be simple in your design? Because I see some designs look nice, but it's hard to understand what kind of design we have. And most customers love simplicity in text, in art, anything. So any insights how to simplify as much as possible, but don't oversimplify?
Yeah, so your super simple thing your ultimate simple sticker would be like a black and white stick figure, right? And then your most complex sticker would be kind of like a, I don't know, Da Vinci-esque, like hyper realistic painting of a person with a very expressive mood. Stickers in particular, it's very important to be simple because you're only looking at a sticker for 5 seconds max, right? So I have a little gun sticker. I did not make this. I got it from someone. It says bang, right? And it's got a little thing and it says bang. You can see that instantly and you're like, oh, haha, it's funny because it's not a real gun. And that's what your brain does, and it gives you like pleasure. And so if I had this like super complex, highly detailed painting of a gun with a little white flag that said bang, well, that might eventually get the point across. You still have all these details that your eyes have to process first. And so the key with stickers is to really like look at it from a distance, right? Because if you're, say, putting a sticker on your water bottle, you're sitting at a conference table, people are going to be looking at it from 5 feet, trying to figure out what it says if they've never seen it. And so that's the value of a sticker. And same thing for car bumpers. Like everyone has seen those bumper stickers that are way too small. And so you like almost tailgate the person to get up and read what it's trying to say. And so sticker design, it's really important to have high contrast. So that's like white and black, or like a dark red and a bright yellow. And you really need big blocky text. I love using like the impact text, which is open source, but there's a lot of cool Google fonts that are open and blocky and all capital letters because they're very easy to read. You have to really cut phrases as short as you can. So like you can't have a 4-line Benjamin Franklin quote on your sticker. It's too long. You need like 4 words. So like a Cheshire Cat sticker that I did somewhat recently said, "It's always tea time," right? And that's about as long as you can go. You really need like 1, 2, 3 lines. So it's a little bit of a guessing game. And sometimes what you'll end up doing as an artist is you'll make something that's maybe a little too complex, and you need to get feedback. And so I get feedback from my husband. I get feedback from my friends. I get feedback from like my public social media sometimes. Haven't done it in a while, but I do get feedback from folks, and I see like, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing, and how can I simplify it? And so I've gone through 3, 4, 5 iterations of a design before I find something that really gets the message across, and does it usually in a funny way. So some of it's just experience, some of it's like literally just, again, experimentation and soliciting feedback and then making the changes that people want.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think without testing, without experiment, it's hard to go ahead, because you limit your possibilities. And you remind me, Mark Zuckerberg, who told that the biggest risk is not to take the risk. So we need to make risks in business. And I'm interested about mistakes. In my life, I made a lot of mistakes. It's hard to count how many mistakes I made, but I feel it's part of the process. I keep doing them, but I can learn from my mistakes to update what I have, to go ahead, to find what actually will work for me. So, can you tell common mistakes that artists can do by implementing AI, and how to find a much better way?
I think so one big, obvious, easy to catch mistake that you're going to learn real quick if you start using Midjourney to create AI art or other tools is art AI cannot make text right now. It can't. Every time you, like if I asked it to make a panda holding up a sign that said help, it would make me a panda, and it might make me a sign. And the sign will probably have text on it, but the text will definitely not say help. It will probably say like HLEIPQ or something like that. Like, it's just real bad at making text. The other thing is like, so copyright is a huge issue in AI and AI art generation right now. And some of those arguments are not founded well. They don't make sense. Like, you see the social media stuff going around that says, oh, there's a watermark on this, that AI outright stole it. And that's not exactly what AI does. Okay, that's not at all what AI does. But what you need to do is just be aware of that, and also don't copy specific living people, right? Like, it's fine for me to take in the style of Starry Night, the famous painting, because that dude's dead. He don't care. And really, really great parodies come out of that particular art as well. I love using that one. But I should not take like Ed Beard, who's a fantasy artist who's done a lot of cool like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and try specifically to copy him, because that's his style. And if I want to copy his style, so to speak, I should be doing it by hand. I shouldn't be using AI to do that. And the other thing too is there's kind of two categories of art that you always have to keep in mind as a sticker artist or a popular artist of any sort. Like, there's the art that you want to make, and then there's the art that you can actually sell. And very often they don't overlap. And so you just need to be clear with yourself. Like, if you really want to make that art, make it. You should. Art is fun. Use Midjourney to make it if you want. Draw it by hand if you want. But don't expect it to sell. If you're making something to sell, then you need to be strategic about like the contrast, the text, whether or not there's any copyright infringement, what audience it will be, whether or not it'll sell, how you're going to release it, all those sorts of things. And so there's like two categories, and as long as you're clear about it, it's fine. And I say the same thing to writers too. Like, if you've always wanted to be a fantasy author and you've never written more than 100 words, but you fantasize about it all the time, that's fine. That's like your thing. That's for you. That's fun. If you want to sell a fantasy novel, then you actually need to like figure out the plot, figure out how it's going to stand out, figure out your marketing plan, and actually write the damn thing. And so like, there's always just that conflict with creatives, like across any industry, between what you want to make and what will make you money. And so understanding that helps you avoid those mistakes and avoid that disappointment that comes with you sinking hours into a piece because you're really excited about it, and then you get really disappointed when it doesn't do well financially.
Nice, valuable. Okay, let's talk about your background. I can see a dog but my attention got books, a bunch of books that you have. Can you tell what kind of books you like to read, and how these books can help you to be more creative in your business?
Ooh. So I would say the books behind me are actually, they tend to be the books that I collect, which
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean that I read them a lot, but like the ones right behind my head are coding books and nature books. There's a lot of field guides there. The ones in the middle are kind of like popular science. So that big black one is Humans, which is that Humans of New York dude's art book, which is really cool. And I've got some other like comic books and cartoons in there. And then the stuff on the far side are all like religion and philosophy and sociology. I work in the environment space from 9 to 5. And so you'll notice actually that a lot of my art does not have to do with the environment. It's because I'm working in it all the time. And it's not that I don't love trees. I just don't want to draw them after I, work on them all week. And so the things that really refresh me and refresh my thinking are, I'll do popular psychology and popular sociology books. Some people think it's homework. I think it's fascinating. I love, reading about what makes humans tick. I do like poetry, though I always get weirded out when we have like group poetry reading sessions. I don't know. It's not my thing. I spend a lot of time on, or I used to spend a lot of time on like self-help and productivity books, but I found that they actually tend to just distract me from actually doing this stuff and get me like thinking about systems instead. And while systems thinking is somewhat useful, it's also like, just a big waste of time at some point. I'd rather just do the thing. I really like fantasy and sci-fi books. I like history. I used to like romance novels a lot until I figured out their format. So romance novels follow a very specific format with the protagonist and conflict and everything, and then they kind of lost their appeal. So I don't know. I don't read as much as I'd like to, but I probably read more than other folks. When I was growing up, my mom's rule was if I could carry it, I could check it out at the library. So I was this like 8-year-old with a stack of books, like taller than my face, but as long as I could get it into the car, it was fine. And then of course, I grew up and got a job and reading's harder, but I really appreciate the chance to like rest and create with, with reading, because you can't just create all the time. You have to like fill up your inner reservoir too and use it to kind of like generate stuff. So I don't know. I think reading's really critical. And I also, I implement to, a no digital screen rule after about 8 or 9 p.m. It's been weird with the time change, but I try really hard to not touch my phone, not touch my computer, and not have the TV on.
Yeah.
And so I'll write, I'll play Sudoku, or I'll read. I do touch my Kindle to read, but it's an e-ink screen, so it doesn't do bad things to your eyes. But that has been really like central to my well-being as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's my dream. It's my dream to tune off my iPhone on Friday evening and tune on Monday morning. But I can't because so many questions, so many things to do. And yeah, it's digital. Okay, Sam, I have the question about, I have some students in my network who are looking for ways to become to get or I don't know, like to create their businesses, to become a PhD, as you have the status. Can you tell, for example, if you started today from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, what will you do today to learn more about art and AI?
Ooh. So if I had $10, I would sign up for Midjourney. Midjourney is the easiest to learn AI tool out there. It's going to get you your experience. To start a business nowadays, to start an e-commerce business, you don't really need any money, except like if you need to pay for a tool. But there are usually tons of free options, AI aside. Like there's Photopea for a Photoshop clone, or there's Affinity products, which are a one-time fee instead of monthly, also as a Photoshop alternative. But the things that I would learn would be how to use Midjourney, because obviously that's critical for AI. B, how to use Photoshop. You don't have to be an expert, but you need to know how to clean backgrounds up and scale up and what the different scaling ups do to stuff, and you know, how to modify text. Very, very basic stuff. And then for sticker artists specifically, or people who are doing prints, stuff like that, you're going to need to probably do some mock-ups of some sort. So you can either pay for those or you can make your own, again, with a Photoshop clone or something like that. So some of these are straight tech skills. Some of them are knowledge skills. None of them really take a lot of money. They just take time. And, you know, I was up and running in 3 weekends when I first decided to like learn how to draw and actually make stuff that people would buy. It took me 3 weekends of work. It's really not very much. And that was, you know, in between pet care. My camera keeps moving because of my cat.
Yeah, I can see
You know, like it doesn't take much, but it really takes passion and a little bit of focus. And so, like, if I had to start over from scratch, I would immediately just go straight to learning about the AI tools, learning the hard tech skills that I need to learn, and then like producing something. My end goal would be to be producing something and posting it. And I would probably choose Redbubble, TeePublic, which are 2 print-on-demand sites, or Etsy with a print-on-demand supplier if I didn't have any equipment, which I do now.
Nice, nice, great, great, love it, Sam. And my final question about the future: can you forecast, predict what kind of future will be, considering that we have AI today, and people are worried that AI can replace human being? So, and your tips how to adapt today to this future.
Yeah, I mean, so when I think about AI, and I don't know that this is an original thought, but I think about like self-checkouts. You know, I may have read that somewhere in someone else's AI commentary, but I remember when I was younger and self-checkouts started coming into being, they were like, oh, this is going to replace all the jobs. Our workers aren't going to have any employment, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's replaced jobs. And I'm pretty confident in saying that because, like, for example, with the pandemic, a lot of those front of house workers were moved to back of house in retail to process and fill delivery orders and pickup orders. And, you know, the same thing happened with self-checkout. They had more people in the aisles to ask you if you needed help. They had more people able to manage stock. I really don't think they reduced the workforce substantially. And I think the same is true for AI. I think your job is at risk because of AI if you do something related to information work, knowledge work that is stupid simple, and key point, you are obstinate about AI. You're like, AI is the devil. I'm never going to touch it. So the thing that's going to happen with those of us who are learning to use AI, be it in art or video or text, is that we're going to get a lot faster. Because like if I'm using AI to write, which I do, then my creative energy goes into editing and proofreading and optimizing for SEO and marketing, right? Like that's where my creative juices are going. I don't have to spend 4 years, 4 days writing an article about old growth forests when Jasper can do it for me. And then I can fact check and put in my own spin as conservation scientists at a nonprofit, and then like move on to more things. And so my productivity is going way through the roof because of AI. And so, you know, I think that for everyone, learning about AI and the limitations and how to access it and bringing it to your employer and being like, hey, this is a tool we can use. Here's how. And being that leader is going to be your best bet at kind of like resisting the AI avalanche, I guess. And, you know, again, like ChatGPT is cool, but like I said earlier, AI is a liar. They call it hallucinating, which I don't like that term. I just realized that's what they meant when they said AI is hallucinating. I like mine better, that AI is a liar, but like AI can't tell fact from fiction. It's very easy to trick AI, and maybe it won't be so easy in the future, but we're always going to need human eyes on stuff. And so what we need to do as humans is really develop our attention to detail to pick out when AI is lying and fix it, and also be good stewards of that AI process, because a lot of what people are using AI for is like repetitive tasks that take a lot of time and are expected of us, but aren't necessarily like why we do the job we want to do. So I think about like, I don't know, social media copy. Like some people want to read it. They want to see posts from your organization, but no one wants to write it. No one wants to write 6 different versions of trees are cool for an environmental nonprofit, right? So that's a great use case for Jasper. And it's not that my social media manager colleague is going to get fired for it. So the AI can do it, because someone still has to take those and put them, into the social media and schedule them and follow comments and all that stuff. So, I don't think anyone's losing their job for AI yet. And Midjourney actually has a really cool, I respect this deeply, limit on their site, where if you're a business owner and you make more than $1 million, you have to pay for their upgraded business subscription. And you're not allowed to use their generator to produce art. And so that blocks like the New Yorker, for example, for using AI generated art from Midjourney, unless they pay a much higher license fee. And so that higher level of entry for very large businesses is also like a good thing too, that I think will prevent some of that job loss. But I don't know, like even AI art, it produces flat images. It doesn't produce beautiful Photoshop layered images that you can then take and manipulate. It's like one flat 1000 by 1000 pixel image. And so like you still need an artist to clean that up. And so if you're an artist looking at AI and getting scared, I think what you need to ask yourself is, can I be that facilitator between AI and the finished product? And how can I make myself indispensable?
Nice. Love it. Awesome, Sam. It's a big pleasure to get in my show, to learn from you. Tell our audience the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how, I don't know, any places where you like to spend time so they can get more insights from you.
Yeah. So my art brand is called Non-Binary Design. So it's like non-binary, but you put B in there instead. And then my reflections about like the sticker business and AI and all those sorts of things can generally be found in Sticker Crypt, which is my brand, stickercrypt.com. So between those two brands, you should be able to find me. I know I have a super generic name, but if you throw PhD at the end of it, so if you type in Sam Davis PhD, you'll find me. I'm really good at getting my name all over the internet, whether I want it there or not. So it's very easy to contact me. I always love to talk to people either about trees for my day job or about art for my business and my hobby. And AI, I love AI. So I'm always down to talk to folks.
Nice. Awesome. Guys, you can find the links to Sam Davis in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Love all your valuable insights. So valuable, guys. You need to follow Sam. You need to reach out to him and tell that you found this stuff on this podcast. Okay, guys. Love you. See you.